Hello, friends. Welcome to my cozy haven. My name is Fiona. I'm really glad you've come onto our live today. I see we've got one person already watching. Hello. But I would like to introduce the three of my friends, Wendy Rich Stetson, Sophie Suvi, and Melinda Morgan. They have just written a wonderful new series, and I don't think it's just going to stop at 3 books. Please don't let it stop at 3 books. But they've come on today to chat to me about it, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Wendy, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hi, I'm Wendy Rich Stetson. I live in New York City. I'm originally from central Pennsylvania. And for most of my career, I have been a professional actress and audiobook narrator. But when things were slow, as they often are in the entertainment industry, I decided I was tired of sitting around and waiting for somebody to pick me, and I wanted to keep telling stories, so I started to write. And I have a 3-book sweet Amish romance series, contemporary Amish romance. I like to say it's not your grandma's Amish romance, but she'll like it too, called The Hearts of the Ridge, published with the Wild Rose Press. And it was through that I got to meet Sophie. I am a mom and a cat mom. And yeah, that's about it.
Love that. So I'm Sophie, and I'm based in Wales in the UK. I'm an English teacher by trade, and I didn't really write for quite a long time. I think I felt really intimidated by all the great books that I was studying and teaching, and I didn't feel I could write anything that was like those. But I was really encouraged by some friends to give it a go. So I started writing a few years back and self-publishing about 2 years ago, and I just really loved that. I loved having control over the story and not having to answer to anybody giving me deadlines. So that's been really cool. And another thing that I've really loved is being on Instagram and finding other people writing clean romance. I think when I started, I read a lot of romance, but I didn't realize how many other writers there were in the indie world who were doing the same thing. And it's been a real joy because I feel like I've connected obviously with Wendy and Melinda, I connected with you, Fiona, and lots of people who read and champion clean romance. And, I feel like from where I live, if you go in the bookstore, I don't think I would find it. I don't think I'd find much stuff there that would fit that. So it's been an awesome journey to connect with people. And I'm really excited.
Melinda?
Well, I'm Melinda, and I live in Eagle Mountain, Utah. That's in the northern part of the state. And we would love to have some of that snow. You could just push some of it our way.
Take it.
We're in the worst drought. It is like being in Southern California this winter. I've never, ever seen it. I was actually born and raised in Southern California. So I came up to Utah to be with my kids. I have 4 children and my husband has 5. So together we have a baseball team. They're all grown, all out of the house. And I have a new grandbaby. It'll be number 23.
Wonderful.
She's coming in a few months, and we just found out her gender this week. So we're pretty excited about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I teach English full time, and this is, I want to say, year 29 for me.
Wow.
For that. So it's been a while. And I wrote my first series that I wrote is called The Birthright Legacy. It's 3 books, but I only got through 2 of them. It was traditionally published, and then the publisher closed their doors. This was in 2012, 2013. And I just they said, you can have all the rights back. We want you to publish that last one. But they said it was going to be tied up in litigation. And so, life happened. My mom passed away. My dad passed away. It was just like boom, boom, boom. And I just kind of lost that. I don't know. I lost the muse. Okay. And that one was a YA, so for young adult, and it was a fantasy romance, a paranormal thing. But then I want to say in about what year is this?
2026.
But at one point, my daughter started reading like Emma Sinclair and Jenny Proctor and Sally. She just had like, Mom, you've got to read these. They're clean romances. And so we started just like devouring them like candy. And somewhere around 2022, she said, you know what, Mom, we should write one of these ourselves. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I don't know, I was out on a kayak one day in southern Utah, and the story for the first book in the An Unlikely Romance, Larson's Wager, came into my mind. And every time I went kayaking, that story would just come back to me. And so I finally, in 2023, just go, I'm just going to sit down and write it. And it was like, boom. It was amazing. I had so much fun. I felt the fire. I was so excited. It energized me. And so I wrote those 3 books, and it was like my introduction to self-publishing. And wow, have I learned a lot in the last 2 years, because I had no idea what was involved and how many things that you had to know. I just stumbled my way all the way through it. But so I wrote those 3 books, and then I wrote The Surrender Wall, which is kind of it's a standalone, but it's kind of a spin-off. And I met these guys through Instagram, and just through reading their books and them reading my books. And it's a great community. And I'm thrilled. I was so thrilled when Sophie ran this idea for Valentine Falls through me. I was like, yes, I want to be part of this. Yes.
Okay, so that actually neatly brings me on to Sophie. I believe you're the brains behind Valentine's Falls. So how did this come about, and how did you recruit both Wendy and Melinda?
It was awesome. I mean, I'd seen multi-author collaborations and thought, oh, that looks cool. But I think I also seen, perhaps where you have a series with just loads and loads of writers and the books don't seem very distinct. And then I just wanted something a bit different. So I am a very picky person, and I read a lot of books, but to me, Wendy and Melinda's writing really stood out as writing I love to read. And, I didn't just want to work with just anyone. So I was very picky. I approached these 2 lovely ladies, and when they said yes, I was just so excited, because I just thought to work together with authors I trust on a series would just be so fun. And then really we developed the whole thing together. Like we met up over Zoom, we had lots of fun Instagram messages. I can't even remember where Valentine Falls came from. It was very much a collaborative idea, wasn't it, guys? I mean, do you guys remember?
No, I mean, what was distinct about Sophie's proposal was that a lot of these multi-author series surround a holiday. Maybe they're all Christmas related, or they're all fall related, or there was one that came out recently where everything was set in the same building. And her idea was sort of more thematic, and that was she wanted to imagine stories of hope after healing, or love stories after healing, which I thought, and then have them be sort of slightly maybe deeper that way, or have some real emotional depth, which I just thought was so thoughtful and different and distinct. So that was the kind of like the beginning of going like, oh yeah, definitely. But then I know how the waterfall, which came to be so incredibly central.
Yeah.
I know, I can't remember either. We had a couple of Zooms that there was this idea that was floated around of something just slightly mystical. There's no like deep magic, or, it's not a fantasy series, but the sense that this waterfall was legendary in some way and quite old and had a lot of history and maybe a lot of local legends surrounding it. Was
like
sort of what
went with the healing, didn't it? The idea that, as we talked about the idea of healing,
yes,
like the idea evolved as like a place that was symbolic of healing. And then I think from there we just all ran with it.
Well,
And I totally want to move there now.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Well, and that was Melinda, right? Melinda has the connection to Oregon, where I've never been, but I'm dying to go. And you were the one who brought us to Oregon.
Yes, my brother lives there, and I've been so many times. And the 4 books that I wrote from the Unlikely Romance, those are set in Eugene, Oregon. But that road up, it's some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen. As you get up through Salem and you go north up towards Washington, the Cascade Mountains are incredible, and there are waterfalls and lakes and rivers, and there is so much going on there. And then you have all these like little pockets of legends from the indigenous people, and they go way back, and so it fits so well with this idea of where you could go to a place that was kind of private, but that was a place where you could heal from whatever. And so that
we started imagining it like Saratoga Springs, or these are places in the US, or Hot Springs, Arkansas, places where for years, like maybe a big sort of booming industry happened in the 1800s, because people were coming to, take the waters, the healing waters. And then maybe after that, the town kind of...
Because Porter's great-grandfather brought the darn hawthorn tree.
The hawthorn trees, which I had to put the hawthorn trees in. That after I read that, I was like, I love that. And I'm ready for someone to be like, hawthorn trees in Oregon, where did that come from? And like, oh,
they came from Ireland.
That's right, Rainbow Tree. Yeah, that part of it, just all of that, because writing is such a solitary pursuit. I mean, as an actor, like everything's community made, right? You're working with so many people, and everybody's putting things in together. And it's something that I've missed in being, while I like the self-determination of being a writer, I sure miss being in a room with people making a story together. So just our Zooms where we were, making stuff up together, and then our Google Doc, which was like, hey, do you have a bakery? Hey, do you have anybody have a sheriff? Or, all that kind of stuff. Then I just ate that stuff up. Like, I just love the collaboration on it. It makes it feel so much. And then the town is richer. Like, it's because it's 3 lanes,
The Opera House and the little cafe and the Falls Inn and Sheriff Falls, and
I know all these characters who now need their own stories.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we feel like there's more to come. As in, I think we're just getting started, right? We I think it took on a momentum, which was really exciting, because like Wendy said, you write things on your own, and you get feedback, but you're very much just chipping away. But this was brilliant because the town evolved as we talk more about it, and as our stories were being written, we were influencing each other's stories. And I just love the crossover. They're very different books, but the continuity of the world, the setting is really strong, and I just feel, and I hope it makes for a really lush reading experience, because people are immersed in the world of Valentine Falls.
Yes, the way that the arcs came out, you only had a couple of days between each one, so you were able to just basically binge it, which was absolutely fantastic. I really, really liked that. It was good for me as a reader. I got to kind of see the progression, which was excellent. Right, before we go into anything else, we've got some people watching. I think we should say hello to them. So we have Erica, who says, I made it. We are very glad you did.
Hi.
Cajun says, hello, sorry to be late. Was out running errands and just got back. Cajun, you're absolutely fine. I'm really glad you came on. Hi to Roxy. She's wonderful herself. And Cajun, I know that the 3 of us will be hopping on to another set of lives at 9 o'clock tonight. So hi guys, I'll see you in a wee while as well. But we have got some people watching. I just want to say that I know that the ladies have got a giveaway, and I think if we sort of say about it now, and then we can go back to it later on. So if you want to tell them, who's going to tell them about the giveaway?
Wendy?
Sure. We are going to give away 3 paperback copies. So 1 paperback copy of each of the books. So you'll win a full set of the Valentine Falls stories. Shipping for the paperbacks in the US, I'm so sorry. If we have an international winner, you'll get ebooks. Yeah. Downloads.
That's quite right, yeah.
And then a little bit of a bookish swag to come along with it. Just a little bit of Oregon, Valentine Falls.
Okay, so how do people enter your giveaway?
To comment on this on our YouTube, yeah, Fiona, they can comment on their end, right? Yep. So just leave a comment saying hi, and you'll be entered. The giveaway will go on. We'll specify in the description for a day or two, so we'll give folks who couldn't be here to watch today but can watch later a chance to enter, and it'll be randomly selected, and we'll ship it out to you. Not all of the paperbacks are available yet because all of the books haven't dropped yet. You're in the middle of our release season, so once they're all available, we'll ship them to you.
Okay, cool. So we say this is Sunday. So we say that if you wish to enter the giveaway, do so by midday UK time on Tuesday. How's that?
Perfect.
Right.
And then I can always say to you, right, these are the people. I will email Wendy and say, right, okay, these are the people that have entered the giveaway.
We'll do a random drawing. Sophie, I think maybe has a little spinner, and we can make a little video and put it on Instagram.
Random draw, and we will let people know. So some other people watching. So,
and we have had the best.
Carry on.
Oh, she's froze. I think she was going to say ARC team.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say we've got the best ARC team and the best covers as well. Like, because Caravel has been awesome. Oh, Wendy's back. Wendy's back.
Sorry,
you froze.
So people are saying hi. So hi to Alison.
Hi, Alison.
Hi, Alison.
Erica's going woohoo for the giveaway.
Yes.
Wendy is going hi everyone. So hello.
Oh, so great to see you guys.
Erica's going hi. So I think people are really excited about the giveaway, which is fantastic. Really happy about that. Alison is going so excited for all of you. This series has been so much fun. It has indeed. So for those people who have not been lucky enough to be in the ARC team, I think it'd be a good idea if we went through each of you and you told us what your book is about. So Sophie, you were the first to kick things off, so let's go with what's your book about? Tell people about it, please.
Well, it's called Dangerously Falling, and it's a short read. It's a novella, and the idea is there's a British female police officer. She's on holiday in Oregon because that's where her sister lives, and she kind of stumbles upon this undercover operation that's going on, and Sebastian is a Puerto Rican agent, and basically his cover is blown, so she steps in to kind of save him in a sticky situation, and they end up doing a salsa in the middle of this posh gala, and then the story just goes from there, really, where she's propelled into a fake relationship with Sebastian to preserve Sebastian's cover and the operation that he's in. And along the way, they visit Valentine Falls. It becomes a really significant place. And Olivia really has to deal with things that she's left behind in the UK. So she lost her police partner, and she was grieving for him. So it really, I hope it explores a lot of those deep kind of emotions while still being really fun. And it's like a rom-com with a spy twist.
Cool. So Wendy, you're book number 2.
That's right. My book is called Falling for My Showmance, and I realized showmance might be. I don't know if people outside of the theater world have heard that term as much, but there's this very frequent phenomenon of people being cast in shows together and falling for each other. And I actually know a couple couples who met and got married working together during shows. So their showmance became real. A lot of the times it ends. But in my story, the heroine, her name is Emmy Austin. She's a New York City actor who grew up in Valentine Falls and left to find her fortune during theater in New York City. And she works for many, many years to develop a musical with a dear friend of hers. And when the musical transfers to Broadway, she is recast by a star. And so she's reeling from that. And in the midst of reeling from that and trying to figure out how she's going to manage in New York, knowing that her show is happening without her, her brother writes to her and asks her to come home and direct a children's production of Peter Pan in the newly refurbished Opera House in her hometown. And so for a chance to get away from New York and try to recollect herself, she says yes. But when she gets there, she finds out that she has to collaborate with the boy who broke her heart in high school. His name is Boone Price. They played opposite each other in Oklahoma, their senior year of a high school, and Boone shattered her heart. And now he's back home. He's a single dad. His family owns the hardware store, and he is the technical director. He's in charge of the sets and the lights and things for the show. And so they have to collaborate. So it's a second chance, single dad, theater vibes, romantic comedy. It's probably the lightest of the three stories, I think, although they both have, things from their lives. It was interesting when Sophie brought up the idea of, hope after healing. I was thinking about all of the different kinds of, wounds that we have to recover from in our lives. And Emmy's story actually happened to me. That's kind of where it came from, although things were very different. I didn't actually write the show, but I was involved in the creation of a show over 8 years that then when it moved to New York, I was recast. And it's one of those things that's just really stuck with me. It happened over 20 years ago, but I think it's something, because it was with a dear friend, that I've still sort of been wondering how I've been processing it in many ways and always thought I wanted to write about it. And so actually to write about it in this very sort of like hopeful, uplifting, funny story has been really kind of a great thing for me. So
I have to say, I loved Maisie. Maisie was a wonderful character.
Maisie is Boone, the hero's daughter. I like writing these like quirky, because I've got Rebecca in my Amish series. I like writing these sort of like quirky, precocious kids who kind of maybe don't fit in. And I'm so glad. Yeah, I really love her.
Yeah, can I actually say, thinking that I've read like your Amish series, I can see Maisie and Rebecca as very much.
I know.
I would actually love it at some point if they met. I think that'd be
a fun idea. Oh my gosh, that's such a fun idea, because I think Rebecca's going to leave the Amish. Let's be honest; she's certainly going to leave for some period of time. So who knows?
And to go on vacation.
Heartlight or to Valentine's Falls, right?
Yeah,
that'd be cool. So Melinda, your book is the final one of so far. I'm going to say the word so far. So please tell us about it.
Heartlight Falls is the story of Porter Shaw, who grew up there, and his pain is that he's felt guilty for the last 15 years because a friend of his went missing. So he's a best-selling author. He writes mysteries, but sales have kind of been flat in the last couple of years, and his publisher is pushing him to add a romance arc into his current book that he's writing. And they are sending pages or scenes of it to cinematic narrators, and Underwood and Bloom, and Ivy Bloom is the female lead. And they try to read one of his scenes, and they lose it. It's so bad that they end up making fun of it, and their episode goes viral, and it lights the publishers are now wanting to bring them in, and they get them to Valentine Falls, where he's gone to finish his book, and he writes cold case mysteries, and it's all inspired by this friend of his that went missing in their senior year of high school. Her name's Gina. And the reason he feels guilty is because she had asked him to go with her to the falls that day, and he didn't. And she never returned. And he feels like had he been there, that she wouldn't have disappeared. So he's lived with that for all these years. And he writes these cold cases because he can't let go of this idea that there's something that's missing, that there has to be a way to figure out what happened and to give closure to her family. And as he goes back there, they find a journal that she wrote. And as he's looking through it, it doesn't make a lot of sense to him, at first. But then as he meets Ivy, and they figure out pretty quickly that he writes under a pen name, but she figures out pretty quickly that it's him. And she offers to help him write his romance scenes, and he will give her like the backstory with the legends and the mystery of the missing girl, and the riddles that go along with the falls and the lore of the town. And so they partner up in that way. And he ends up helping him solve this mystery and this cold case, which is a pretty amazing journey. Cash is her partner, and he is the comedy in there, because it gets pretty heavy sometimes, and it's emotional. And I felt like Cash came in right when I needed to laugh and lighten things up a little bit. And I love Cash's relationship with Ivy, that there's not a romance there. There's not even a hidden wish there was a romance for either one of them. It's a, hey, we tried that once. It did not work. We are like brother and sister, and they are in each other's court. And I love seeing the relationship between a male and a female who can be that close and that supportive without having the romantic side to it. That was really fun for me. Ivy took me a while. Honestly, I knew about her character, but I didn't connect to her. And I connected to Porter, but it took me a while to figure out what Ivy's pain point was, and like what is going on inside of her, because you don't get to know her until about almost halfway through the book, where you really start to see where she's coming from and what her hurt is. And I love that Porter sees her and she sees him. And I feel like they are intimate long before they ever realize that, where they're going with this. Not intimate. And let me rephrase that. I don't mean intimate the way we think of it.
Connected.
There's an intimacy in their evolving friendship, and it is a slow burn. But by the time the first kiss comes along, you already know that there's a connection that's gone pretty deep.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, when I read it, I was like, them taking the mickey out of that scene, I'm like, really? Do you have to be so brutal? And in some ways it was almost like nasty, and I'm like, I don't like you. I really don't like you. And then when they get to Valentine's Falls and she calls Porter Mr. McBroody, I thought, brilliantly done. I thought that was so good. And then as you started to see them getting, as you got to know them, it was really good. And as you say, there was a poignancy about it, which was really, really lovely.
She does come off as almost a little cruel because of the way they're making fun of him. But I loved that, like, I wanted people to see that when it turns for her and she starts to realize, wait a minute, like, there's a real person here. It's not just us making fun and getting likes and views. There's a person here whose life is impacted. And as she gets to know Porter, she doesn't find the joy in what they're doing. And it ends up that she and Cash end up teaming up with Porter to kind of battle the publishing and the narration and solve the mystery. They all blend together.
Yeah, I have to say, I really, really enjoyed that. Right, we've got some more comments. Alison's so excited for you all. The series has been so much fun. Absolutely, I totally agree. Roxy says, hello, love a giveaway. Who doesn't? Wendy, I'm hoping that we get some more of Sebastian and Olivia.
Me too.
Wendy, love Emmy and Boone. Everybody does. Erica, more Olivia and Sebastian seems like a big possibility. Wendy would love a book that focuses on Cash.
Me too.
I would
so
love
does the other Wendy.
Yeah, and Cajun is all three sound really interesting. Cajun, they really, really are. I would recommend. So now that we know about the books that you've written, what is next for Valentine's Falls? Can you tell us anything?
We're still like in the zone, I think, of like enjoying the releases. You know, obviously we've Dangerously Falling is out. Falling for My Showmance is coming this Tuesday.
Yeah,
very exciting. And then Heartlight Falls will be following that. So we're very much focused on releasing the series, but you know, we totally want to extend it further. And you know, I know I'd love to explore the world now that we've got this amazing world of characters. I think we definitely feel there's more stories to tell within it. What do you guys think?
I think Sheriff Falls needs his story. Luke kind of captured my heart with that whole cave scene, and I thought he deserves to have his happily ever after. And Cash absolutely needs a story. I already know who he's going to end up with.
Oh, great! I love that.
Yeah, she kind of appears in chapter 26 for a moment.
Heartlight Falls?
Absolutely, yes.
There's a cameo. Did you recognize her, Sophie?
Yeah, I think I did.
Liam's sister.
Yes.
From Leighton and Liam Graham, their younger sister.
I just love that.
She just pops in and pops out, and it's like Cash is whoosh. So I go, oh, okay, that's happening.
I think that's just really fun.
Yeah,
the characters are just awesome, aren't they? You just want to sit with them, and
you do.
Yeah.
Also, I think does Valentine's Falls, does it have a bookshop?
Not yet, but it should.
I think we should. I think you should. Hello.
It has a library.
It has a library.
Yeah.
It should definitely have a bookshop.
Yeah, because you could always do the library. If the librarian is female, you could have the male bookshop owner.
Yeah, that could work for sure.
That could work.
That's pretty fun.
I think we enjoyed it as the way that the town was gradually kind of reviving as well, because like Wendy was saying, it had kind of become a bit of a has-been place, but gradually through the course of the stories, it's kind of coming back to life, and you know, the production brings a real release of energy, doesn't it, Wendy? And I feel like there's a bit of a momentum now with the town waking up again.
Yeah,
because you have the closure of the missing girl and the bringing closure to the town. You have the opening of this opera house that's now restored, and companies that will travel around to there. And I mean, there are so many possibilities with traveling shows. And, you know, with what can happen there.
Yeah,
because it's influx, just the influx of people, the influx of artists, bands. I mean, we could be like the music scene in the Pacific Northwest is such a thing. I feel like we need.
And I think there's definitely a flavor with the books, like a bit of mystery. Obviously, clean romance is front and center, but I do feel like the vibe of the series is really unique. I haven't read anything like this with these combination of flavors, so I think that's something that really makes it stand out from other series where perhaps you've got, you know, well-known tropes and well-known settings being used, but I think what we've got here is a really tasty blend, so we're gonna definitely concoct.
Yeah, it's a town steeped in mystery. I've never written anything, and I mean, my mystery is the slightest, probably most obvious, coziest mystery of the three, certainly in the world, but that each of that there are secrets, that the town and the waterfall, you know, do contain secrets is just a really delicious element of this town.
Well, one thing I would say is, in the next book, can we have a map of the town?
I was thinking about that. We could hire an artist to make a map. I am so down with that.
That would be brilliant. That would be so nice to sort of have a map so that you could see where everything was. I think that a lot of people would really, really appreciate that.
That would be like some fun, fan art type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Mhm.
We definitely, Melinda, you shared a lot of pictures with us as well, didn't you? And like we definitely thought a lot about the shape of the town, but I think it would be really cool to share that with the readers. And
the town that I had in my head was between like Salem and Eugene. It had this little town called Albany, not Albany, New York, but Albany, Oregon is a very small town. But I looked at the pictures of it and the surrounding area, and I thought if you take that little town and put it up against the Cascades where the waterfalls would be, it would just be lovely. So yeah, it's gorgeous.
That's good. And if anyone's got any questions or comments, do let us know, because we would love to know from you what you would like to see next or what intrigues you as readers. Like, do reach out and let us know, or pop it in the comments.
Pop in the comments now. Let's have some questions from the people that are watching. I'll put on a couple more comments. Cav Eep, thanks for the highlight of the series and new to me authors. I'm hunting down Valentine's Falls books now. Excellent, well done.
Love to hear that. It is on Limited as well. We should say that they're all going to be on Kindle Unlimited. So if people have a subscription.
Cajun, love a map and a book.
Yeah, me too.
Erica, so many good ideas floating around. Absolutely, it's really good to kind of have these ideas. But if you get any questions for any of these ladies, please put them in the comments, and we'll get to them before the end of this stream. So, are you working on anything Valentine Falls related just now, or are you working on a different project?
I've got a different project that I'm working on, which is set in Wales, actually.
Ooh, nice.
It's going to be a kind of coastal renovation series. So the premise of it is there's this matriarch grandmother. She buys 4 very different properties, and she gives a property to each of her grandchildren, who are all in their 20s and kind of not very anchored, not very clear in their direction in life. And then basically they each have to renovate this property, and one of them's like a B&B hotel, one of them's a cafe, one of them's like a shop, and one of them's like a warehouse. So I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Great.
But it's the delight of all these different worlds, isn't it? And I think I definitely can't wait to get back to Valentine Falls. It's got a piece of my heart now.
Oh, I can understand why. Wendy, how about you? What are you working on?
So I'm going to now pivot back. I have written a clean Christmas romance set in the North Pole. And it's called Becoming the Clauses. And it's about a seasonal mail carrier to the North Pole who falls in love with Santa's surly reindeer groom. So it's got like a little hint of magic, a little hint of a little sci-fi. It posits that the North Pole is this place called the Pole that's in Alaska, but not like actually at the North Pole, and that is the hub of Santa's activity. And Santa is the job, not the guy, and the job gets handed down. And the reindeer groom is going to be the next to sort of take over Santa, but every Santa has to have a Mrs. Claus. It's just part of the the restrictions of the job. And so it's a marriage of convenience where he's going to end up marrying the seasonal mail carrier who brings.
I love marriage of convenience.
I'm so excited. It's so much fun. I've had so much fun writing it. So it's like kind of done. So I think I'm in a place, I'm sort of in that now that this Falling for My Showmance is my first self-published book. And oh my gosh, Melinda, yes, the like amount that goes into just my head exploding. Me sending panicked messages to Melinda and Sophie like, why is it doing this? Why is it like this? I mean, I was like kind of exhausted.
I have so been there.
Oh my gosh. And even I hired people to help me, and still like the formatter and everything. But so I'm trying to decide if the Christmas book is going to be a self-published. I'm thinking right now I'm going to enter the query trenches and submit it to agents. So I'm trying to get that package together. But if that doesn't go the way I want it to, I will probably be self-pubbing it next Christmas.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I just say, can I be a beta reader, please?
Of course. Yeah. Oh, I would love that. I'll send it to you.
It sounds so fun.
Fantastic. How about you, Melinda? What are you working on?
I'm still doing edits.
Oh my gosh.
I was just getting my final edit lines. Because you have the content editor and the line item editor and then the final edits. And I'm pushing through that. But honestly, I still have to finish the Graham siblings. They all need their happily ever after. So Leighton and Liam have their story, and now he's got a younger brother and a sister and an older brother that they need their story. And in the Unlikely Romance, there's going to be a giveaway to a novella that is the prequel, which is Max and Maisie's story. And so that'll be fun. And I've never written a novella, so that will be a challenge. But I have their story up here. And then actually, I have been working on something for about a year now, and it's a metaverse romance story.
Ooh,
and
that's cool.
It's pretty. That one, I'll be querying. I'll enter the query thing for that, because it's going to be a time. There'll be enough time, because when like when my first 2 books were published, by the time you get the query letters out and then you find someone who wants to see your manuscript, and I don't know if it's changed since then, but once you get signed, then it could be another year before they even start the editing and all of that. It could be another year before it ever, you could write it and it might be 2 years before it ever goes into print.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to do that with, like, when I started self-publishing, I just thought, I'll just write the stories and self-publish. It'll be no big deal. And then I was like, it's a big deal. I actually, I don't know if you guys know Jenny Proctor. She's on the East Coast, North Carolina, and she wrote a series that I fell in love with. And she's also Closed Door Romance. And I actually tripped in one of her newsletters, she said something, and I wrote to her, and I ended up hiring her to coach me through the first book, Larson's Wager, coach me through how to get it self-published. And she started telling me, she goes, well, let's just do this part first, because there's like all these phases. And it was an eye-opening experience, but that was money well spent. And she helped me so much. And then just talking, the network of authors and Instagram and Bookstagram, it has been so helpful, because you have questions and people are so willing to share what they know and help you when you get stuck. So I have really appreciated the book community for that.
Cool. Excellent. Got a couple of questions, some couple of questions here. Cav saying, I managed to order the paperback for Dangerously Falling, but don't see the option for Falling for My Showmans or Heartlight Falls. They seem to be in Kindle. I'm in Canada. Can we know that Dangerously Falling's out. Falling with My Showmans comes out on Tuesday. Is that just Kindle, or is it going to be paperback as well?
Yeah, so you guys have followed up on that in the chat. Yeah, it'll be in paperback as well. As soon as it releases, you'll be able to order it in paperback.
Okay,
and same with Heartlight, I think. Yeah.
Heartlight. When does Heartlight come out again, Melinda?
March
3rd. So there we go. Yeah. Erica said they haven't released yet.
Yeah.
Alison wants to know, when do you each find time to write?
With great difficulty. I know, I love it, because in the run up to these books, like, Melinda was up against a wall, weren't you, Melinda? And you were just like chinning it out, weren't you?
You know what? It was because I originally meant Surrender Wall to be part of the series, and then realized going in that it was going to be ready sooner than the series would be, but also it wasn't going to fit our vibe with the characters that are in there. It just wasn't going to be a good fit. So I had to finish that book and get it released and then start writing and have it done in time. So I actually wrote Heartlight Falls very quickly comparatively, because I don't know, how long does it take you to write a book? The two of you usually.
Sophie's fast.
Depends. I mean, I feel like I had the lowest word count on Dangerously Falling because it was a novella, so it didn't take me long. But I find that my writing goes in seasons. So, like, particularly being a teacher, if I'm in school holidays, I can get a lot more done. And in term time, when it's busy and I've got to bring work home, I barely open my laptop for doing a story. I think it's because of too much of the same thing. Like, you've been on a laptop all day, you don't want to then open it up when it's like 9 p.m. and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do it now. So I find that some weeks I might write once or twice, and then I might have dips where I'm not writing, and then I might have a really inspired week where I bash out loads. But it's one of those things where I think I realized, and I'm sure you ladies would agree, you just have to make time, because the opportunity doesn't just knock on your door like, here's some writing time. You have to really claim it for yourself. And I feel like I probably felt like, oh, I didn't have any time to write, but it was because I hadn't been very good at actually saying, no, I do want to do this, and carving it out. So yeah, it feels very snatched. I think I'm not sure it was true with Dangerously Falling, but I know another thing I wrote, I did a lot of just dictating it like into my phone, because I was tired at the end of the day, and I was just like talking to my phone and then sorting it out later. I don't do that with every book, but
do that with Day of the Dice, and that's
Day of the Dice was different because that was the first book I wrote. So back in 2017, I wrote that, and bless it, it went through about 10 rounds of editing with various things. So that was a book which I spent way too many hours of my life on that book. Whereas the stuff I write now, I feel like I get a clean draft out quite quickly. But that's the experience, isn't it? Once you know the shape of how to write, then the next project becomes easier, and you get your rhythm of like, oh yeah, this is how it goes. And it's so much of it, I think, is quite instinctive. But I think when you get to the sweet spot of, I'm really enjoying this story and I want to read what happens next, that's the point where you're like in the zone. But I can also relate with Melinda, the times when it's frustrating and you feel like it's not clicking. There's also a lot of that too.
Yeah, this and you do you still have kids at home, Sophie?
I do, yes.
Okay, so that adds to it. I don't have that. I have a husband who would love to see me sometimes. He's like, I knew what I was getting into when I married you. This doesn't stop ever. And so if you don't write, those characters, they're here.
Yeah.
And they're gonna bother you until you tell their story. And I find that I never know in advance, like, this is how my story is going to go and how it's going to end. I kind of get the idea of who the characters are and their backstory, which was why Heartlight Falls was harder for me, because Ivy didn't have a backstory, and it took me a while before that was revealed. And it's not like I made it up. It's like I had to wait for the character to reveal it. And that's like, I just follow them. When I go into a scene in my mind, I am literally following the characters and just typing what's happening. And if I get it wrong, they will let me know, usually about 2:00 in the morning. And it'll be like, all right, I'll fix it. So, and it's all the time. All the time.
Are you the same, Wendy?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of like my writing process, my life as a freelance performer is so unpredictable. Lately, it's predictably slow, but I mean, it could be I'm in the middle of writing scene and I get a call from my agent and I have to prepare 12 pages of Shakespeare for tomorrow type of thing. So that's where my then the writing just has to go away while I studied The Tempest for a while. But this book, I actually, for the first time, I used this book called Story Genius by Lisa Crone, who I think is a playwright. And because I knew I was going to be writing this one pretty quickly because of how we had set it up, and we knew we wanted it to come out in the Valentine season. And I set myself the task. Originally, we had decided they were all going to be like 40 to 50,000 words, and then we got a little looser with that, and the stories were the length they needed to be. But I wanted to try the exercise of writing something that was more contained. And so I used this book and really followed it step by step. And so it was a combination of being, there's always that discussion of, are you a plotter or are you a pantser? Do you write by the seat of your pants or do you plot it? I do have to know the ending before I start and sort of slightly how I get there. But this one, I had a different process for writing, which I was kind of great. It was actually more about probing the characters' backstories. So I didn't do what Melinda did of kind of like, go through and let her story reveal itself to me. I actually started kind of with the backstory before taking off into kind of the writing process. So that was different and sort of interesting. And then partly because I was kind of drawing from my own experience a little bit. This character in some ways is more personal than, even though I'm kind of nothing like Emmy. I'm not a musical theater actress. I'm nowhere near as confident as she is. But I was kind of thinking back on that time, around the time that I got fired from the show that I created, and seems like what that was like.
That pieces of you are in a lot of your different characters. Because as I'm reading and thinking about my female leads through this past series, I can go, oh, okay, I can see little pieces of myself in there and pieces of people I know. I even see husband in some of them. So it's it can be very, like, the very, very first book that I wrote has a scene in there that is something that was very personal for me, but I needed to change the narrative and how it ended.
100%.
Writing was a very I don't know what that word is, but where I actually changed the narrative and it helped me heal.
Cathartic. It's cathartic. Yeah.
That's the word right there.
Yeah. The circumstances surrounding Flybuzz, the fictional project, and the project that I actually did are completely different. But just that inherent, like, the hurt that I was dealing with was the like betrayal by a friend and then losing something that you created, like the ownership, I felt over that play, and then to have it taken away and have absolutely no recourse was just the kind of like, then what do you do with yourself? And I love the idea that what Emmy did was, like, she said she went away, which is actually what I did too. I went to Dallas and did a play. I got out of town. I was in a show out of town, and I just got out of New York, and the play did flop, which it flopped in New York. It's then gone on to be tremendously successful all over the country. But yeah, so I related to that. So yeah, it's interesting the way these things are, because a lot of people are like, oh, are you writing, is it autobiographical? And I agree with Melinda. Like, I think it would be pretty hard unless you're writing memoir. Yeah. You know, but you see little shimmers of things that come from your life, or characteristics or whatever.
It's interesting. Authenticity, doesn't it? Like, I think readers can see the authenticity in what you develop for them for my showmance. And I think, like, when I read that, just the opening, I was like, yeah, I'm totally there. I'm with this character. I'm experiencing that with her, and I think that's really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I loved being able to read both of their manuscripts before, while I was still writing mine, because it gave me a chance to kind of weave through and add some of those to it. But I think I might be the one that I identify on a personal level with her backstory more than maybe any of my other characters. I didn't realize that going in. That certainly wasn't my intent. It just happened.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, some other comments. Erica telling Cav they haven't released yet. Erica, a few thanks for the info. I was worried they wouldn't be available up here in paperback, so I was not far behind as I thought. And final question. Who or what inspired you to choose the main characters for each book? Who are they and what do they do? Wendy spoke a little bit of our female main character connection to her life. This was so interesting. So who inspired you for your main characters?
Oh, that's a big question. So Olivia, for me, I just love the Shakespeare play Twelfth Night, and I just thought about Olivia and Sebastian from that play.
I played Olivia in college, actually.
Great part.
Yeah.
And I just like the idea of someone who was very uptight and very fixed on their job, being put in a situation where they're completely out of control. And my dad was a police officer,
right?
So I guess I kind of by proxy have absorbed something of what they face on a daily basis, and I just sort of thought it would be really interesting to write a character who that was her daily reality, and then she gets catapulted into this bizarre American scenario that she's never thought about. And then for Sebastian, I just wanted to think of someone who was, very focused, being undercover, very committed to exposing this trafficking ring. But then this woman comes along and just, completely blindsides him. And I just love the dynamic between them. And, one of the readers commented about Sebastian's mother being really hilarious. And I just love that. That totally just evolved as I was writing it. I just imagined this Puerto Rican woman who was telling her son off down the phone in Spanish. I just loved that idea. So, the characters they have seeds, don't they, in people that you recognize. And there's a character who's not alive in the book, but Jason, who's Olivia's partner who passed away. He just became a really significant character as the book developed. And I didn't really foresee that either. I just kind of, as the story developed, his character as someone who was very steady, someone who was very loyal, didn't express his feelings ever. But that reminded me of some of the people I know who are very men who are very committed and loyal, but they don't talk about how they feel. And I think there's probably seeds of that in the character.
How about you, Melinda?
I knew that we were talking about a town, and I thought, who would move away from a town like this, especially, if it's so beautiful and it has this fall? What would make somebody leave it, and what would make them come back? And I got the idea for Porter first, this person who writes mysteries and who writes under a pen name, and what would bring him back to the falls. And I actually got the idea for him while I was walking over the summer, because I walk for 3 miles a day, and I do a lot of the thinking while I'm walking. And then sometimes I just speak it, like you were saying that you record, I would speak it into my notes, bouncing these ideas, and then transcribe them and go, okay, all right, can I even follow my train of thought here? But his character came very quickly to me and evolved. And then I thought it would be really funny to have, there are people that I know who were very into the closed door romance. And then when a traditional publisher picked them up, one of the things that they were pressured or felt pressured to do was to open that door a little bit and up the spice level to appeal to a wider market of readers. And I know a lot of those authors have felt that pressure. It's I want to be successful as an author, but I feel this pressure and not, it's it's a conflict. And so I wanted Porter to have that conflict and to have an opportunity to show what it can happen with big publishing companies. and his story it's definitely not in any way, shape, or form based on any real. It is completely made up. So I don't want anybody to say, I think I know who she's talking about. But he's fictional. But I wanted him to feel that pressure, and what would he do under those circumstances. And I love that he was very clear all the way through the book. I'm not doing this. And he got a lot of pushback from that. And so, and then with Ivy, being the cinematic narrator, I wanted a character who was fun and who could laugh and who didn't take herself too seriously. And I thought it would be fun at that, the whole idea of her reading somebody who's never written romance and now is forced to, because he's a mystery writer and he's really good at that. But man, when he starts to write romance, he's just like, he's got nothing. And I could see me trying to read something and keep a straight face if it was that bad. And so she just kind of, all of these ideas came to me while walking. And that's, I don't know, that's where I get the, like kayaking, I'm outdoors and I'm doing something and ideas come. So I think in the kayak and the walking, that's where they're born.
Okay, cool. Right. What we got here? We have Shandell. Sorry, that should go. Shandell Hall says, "Thank you all for the books you write." Yeah, very much so. And this has to be the final question, I'm afraid, guys. How did each of you come up with your plots and then execute the mysteries? I'm curious to know how you write and solve your own mystery.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do a lot of planning. So it's interesting hearing what you guys said, Wendy and Melinda, because I definitely do plan things really. I plan the beats and, I know the shape of what's happening and then I sort of write around that. And some things can still surprise me within that, like the whole Jason thread. But generally I have the shape of it before I write. And I find that quite fun, the whole plotting stage. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I had never written any
Surrender Wall was my first attempt at, I had done, that's that. I had never tried to write a mystery that needed to be solved. And that was my first attempt. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing with that. This one, I didn't know how it was going to end. I didn't know how to solve that mystery. And that I do like the direction that it went. And even though it surprised me, I was not intending to write something so emotionally, I don't know. It's more emotional narrative than, certainly I wouldn't call this book a rom-com, Heartlight Falls. It's more.
It does have a lot of comedy in it. I laughed a lot when I read the banter, but I get what you mean.
Thank heavens for that.
Yeah.
Thank heavens.
How about you, Wendy?
Yeah, I'd never tried to write a mystery before. And my editor was like, oh, I 100% knew where everything was going the whole time. And I was like, okay. And so that,
I didn't.
I'm glad. There's only X number of characters. But it really got me thinking. I found myself asking her, I kind of might want to read a little bit about writing mystery now. In order for somebody to be considered a suspect, say, does one of the main characters need to recognize them as a suspect, or do you need to plant behavior that causes the reader to trigger them as a suspect, or some combination of the two? And actually, from the version of the ARC that some of you ARC readers read, I have now, based on some comments from the editor, thrown suspicion in some other directions. And she was like, it doesn't take a lot, but just and I think I hadn't thought of some of the people who could be, there's a little bit, what happens for those of you who haven't read it is that it seems that someone is trying to sabotage this children's production of Peter Pan. And there's a vandal and they're trying to figure out who it is. That's one mystery. And then another mystery is that there's a mysterious benefactor anonymous benefactor who's given money, who I love that I could call in Sophie's characters for that, because Sophie was written as billionaire. So I could use the billionaire as a red herring. But anyhow, so, you know, there's a limited number of characters who you're trying to be like, oh, is that person the vandal? Oh, is that person the, you know, the anonymous donor? So I think if we have another mystery again, which it seems like these do want to have a little bit of a mystery, I might read a little bit more about writing mystery so I can be somewhat more intentional about it. But it was pretty fun. Like, it's fun. I don't know how, like those crazy, you know, those crazy mysteries where you just don't see it coming at all. Like, hats off, man. Brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fine line though, because I think the reader feels a bit cheated. Like if it's such a twist that you couldn't predict it, I think you feel like the author hasn't laid the ground for it. So I think
it just comes out of
fine
nowhere.
line. You've got to lay enough breadcrumbs that the reader feels like, oh yeah, that makes sense, without it being surprise.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that really didn't fit with what I thought.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final comment from Cajun. I like suspecting someone the main character does not see that way.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
friends,
I'm definitely like the whole idea of writing more mystery. Heck yeah. I think I would like to do that.
Definitely. I definitely want to see where you guys take Valentine's Falls, because you've got me hooked. You really have got me hooked. So thank you to everyone who has watched. I really, really do appreciate it, as do these ladies. If you wish to be considered for the giveaway, please put in the comments down below your name, and I will you have till Tuesday 12 p.m. UK time to go giveaway. All you need to do is put hi giveaway, and I will then email the list to Wendy, and she'll get Sophie, who'll do the wee spinny wheelie thing, and then they'll come back to me and I will contact whoever has won. Okay, and we'll do I'll find a way that I'll give you maybe Wendy or Sophie's email address or something like that. But thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
And hopefully when you get the next set of Valentine's Falls, you'll come back to me and say, right, can we do another session?
Yeah.
I really
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
my pleasure. Okay, that's all, guys. Bye.